Doesn't matter how old you are. Your body is your body. You can make it do whatever you have to make it do. You think you can't do stuff, and you have no idea what strength you have hidden in that body.
Life Reimagined with Stacey Ray.
What if I told you that one of the strongest, most inspiring fitness influencers on the internet didn't even start working out until she was 70? That's right. Today's guest, Joan MacDonald, went from struggling with health issues, taking multiple medications, and feeling stuck, to becoming an absolute powerhouse in the gym, building muscle, ditching the meds, and inspiring over 2 million women online. And she did it all in her 70s. So, if you've ever felt like it's too late to make a change, Joan's here to prove to you that that's wrong in the best possible way. She's not just lifting weights, she's lifting up an entire generation of women who are ready to take control of their health and their future. And today, she's sharing exactly how she did it and what kept her going, and how you can take that first step toward a stronger, healthier you, no matter your age. Joan, welcome. I am so honored that you agreed to be on our show. We're a new podcast, and our goal is to reach women primarily in the 45 plus demographic, but really all women, and let them know that life can be what they want. And I can't think of anybody better to teach us some lessons on how that's possible. So I know that, as much as I have seen and read about your story, I know your daughter was very instrumental in challenging you. But what catapulted you to actually hear her and say, okay, I'm going to give this a try?
Well, I'd been following my daughter for many years when she was just starting out with everything. I knew what she could do. I watched all the things, and I went to the shows, and I supported her as much as I could. Like, I traveled to support her. I knew what she was capable of. I just didn't know what I was capable of. And I was, in my own words, sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh, gosh.
I had trouble walking upstairs. I had trouble walking, period. I had a knee replacement 3 years before she threw down the gauntlet. I was not happy. I was not a happy person. I didn't like where my life was going. I mean, I didn't think I was that old. I keep thinking I'm in my 30s.
I can relate.
Yeah, you keep forgetting that you're as old as you are.
Yeah.
I was tired of people saying you can't do this, you can't do that as you get older, and seeing how there's good doctors out there, but really a lot of them are pill pushers, and
Yes.
they just don't think women have it in them once they reach 40. I'm going, what? 40 is young.
Ageism
You know?
is so prevalent in the medical
It's
field, for sure.
and this is what we've got to change. Yeah, this is what we've got to change. The thinking about age. Doesn't matter how old you are. Your body is your body. You can make it do whatever you have to make it do. Yes, I had problems. I've got kidney problems. I have arthritis. Now, you can't get rid of the arthritis, but you can at least make it bearable. They said I had high cholesterol, but I had high blood pressure. And I got my doctor in on that when I said, look at it, because they were going to up my meds. And I'm going, yeah, I don't want any more. I want less if I can get it.
Right.
What can I do? So she said, well, we'll monitor you. You just have to keep losing weight, see what happens there. Well, what happened was my blood pressure went down too low.
Oh.
They had to cut my meds, yeah. I wanted to only lose about 30 pounds when I started. I thought that was a reasonable goal, and I thought it would take me a lot longer than it did because I joined Michelle's transformation group, and it was for 6 months. And at the end of the 6 months, I had lost 45 pounds, not 30.
Wow. What did that feel like to know that you could do that?
Yeah, I could move. I could fit into clothes that I hadn't been able to fit into for quite some time. I just kept them thinking I would,
Yeah,
one day,
yeah.
but I made it happen. I made it happen because I worked hard at it.
And so what do you say to the naysayers who say, "Oh, you get to a certain age, you can't lose weight anymore"?
It's bull. I'm sorry, it's bull. You have to change your mindset. You have
Yeah.
to change your eating to clean eating. I was a snacker, and that's why I gained what I did. I was bored with my life. My husband didn't join in, and he was going the opposite way. He was giving everything up, and I'm going, I want to start everything
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't let my daughter down, and I couldn't let myself down. And the heck with anyone else, what they had to say. I wanted to look like a healthy woman. I I didn't realize how big I was until my daughter makes you take before and after pictures all the time. So it's a you always have that first picture, and you put your pictures in every week as you change.
Yeah.
And that really opens your eyes
Yeah.
to what is possible. And as for the muscle definition didn't really come in, I don't think, until the second year, but everything got smaller. All that fat had changed into muscle. And every year I lost a small amount of weight,
Right.
but it was changing into muscle all the time and more definition. So I was really happy with that part. And I'll tell you, girls, it isn't easy. I had to learn all about technology. I had to change my mindset about my eating. She had me eating 5 meals a day, which is great because you're doing it every 2 to 3 hours,
Yeah.
like trying to get your meals in. And when I do my workouts, my biggest meals are before and after my workouts. And you do it within the hour of starting and stopping the workout because your body is still working in high gear. My metabolism by the third month really kicked in because I was starving. When I started, I couldn't eat what she had planned for me.
Right.
And then by third month, yeah, it had reversed. So I knew my metabolism had picked up. And I'll tell you, it wasn't an easy trip. There was a lot of tears along the way. My son-in-law always talked me down from the ledge.
Right.
I wanted to throw in the towel and everything else, and I'm going. And then he'd say something, and I go, I can't. I've got to do this. I got to do this for me. You get your workout done. You eat properly. You sleep at least 7 to 8 hours a night. You should go to bed about the same time. And that changes things. Because I was looking after my mom, and I've got a brother with CP, and I was the one that did everything.
You were the caregiver and taking care of everyone else. Yeah.
I was closest to everybody. It wasn't a burden because it's people I love.
Of
So
course.
it's you want to do what you can. But there's a limit. There's a limit to what you can do, and you have to be healthy yourself in order to do that.
And this is the biggest, caregiver burnout is real.
Oh, it
And
is.
people who aren't primarily caregivers, like yourself, and I certainly have been one, but if you haven't been in that situation, I don't think that you realize how much you shrink and disappear in that process because the world becomes about everyone else and not about you.
Yeah.
And
You've got to take ownership.
exactly. Were you finding that you were depressed?
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize I was depressed because I could still laugh. But I
Right.
mean, when you had downtimes, it was, like everything seemed dark. It's like
Yeah.
you had a dark cloud over your head all the time.
Yeah.
And I've changed so much from when I started, how I feel about other people. There's so much to see in this life and do. And we're going to stop at 40?
I
That's
know.
crazy.
I'm going to tell you
That's
something.
absolutely crazy.
When I was young, I always have to put the on there. I'm 65 young, but when I was in my 20s, I remember having conversations with my friends, and we'd be having what we thought was so much fun. And we would go into a club, and it was like all women in their 40s. And our whole attitude was like, promise me you'll end my life when I'm 40. I don't ever want to be that old.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I'm
I
like,
know it
where
felt
did I
fun
ever get that from? That 40 was old.
because you hear it. Yeah. To me, health is wealth. It definitely is. Like without it, what do you got?
My experience has always been that we don't place enough attention and emphasis on the fact that our physical health completely controls our mental health. Would you
True.
agree?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah,
Your mental health controls your
absolutely.
physical.
They are
Yeah.
so intertwined.
People emphasize mental health. They had put a stigma on it. Everyday mental health
Yes.
has to be healthy
Yes.
for you to progress and change. Your mind is really the biggest, best thing in your whole body because it's mind over matter. I've got a mug that says, do the thing that you think you can't do.
Right.
And it's very true. You think you can't do stuff, and you have no idea what strength you have hidden in that body. As women, especially, we are the backbone of society, and we should be leading, not following.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'll tell you, you might have guessed this. I am one of those women. I refuse to sit down and shut up and be quiet. I want to be invincible, not invisible.
Yeah,
And that is huge part of my mission at this point is that, we've all grown up in the society, and girls are still growing up in that headspace of here's your box, stay in it, and leave it there. And the truth is, I can be anything I want to be. I will give you a silly example. It's certainly not fitness, but I put together a heat lamp for the first time in my life. I was sure I can't do this. I'm going to hire someone to do this. My daughter said she'd come and help and put it together. 4 weeks later, after looking at the box every day, one night I said, you know what? I know I can do this. Long story short, I did it. And I'm telling you, it was the most exciting feeling.
empowering.
Yes. So when I think of all that you're doing in inspiring so many women, and by the way, it's not just women of a certain age, you're inspiring much younger generations. And when I think of that, I'm blown away. I watched one of your videos repeatedly. And the reason I watched it is because it spoke to me so much emotionally. And you were talking about how your daughter has been part of this process and that she started out encouraging you to get on Instagram so you could kind of like find a community or get involved. And you got emotional about hope and being needed. What does that feel like for you at this time in your life to know that you are giving so many of us hope and you are needed, Joan? You are very needed because first of all, can I tell you, I absolutely love your laugh. It is so contagious. I love it. I could watch you laugh all day. But what does that feel like to know that you are giving us hope and being needed?
It makes me want to keep going on. I feel empowered
Yeah.
because if I can give people hope, then maybe we can get a real wave going, you know, a
Yes,
real
a
ripple effect.
movement.
I have a lot of followers in Brazil. Like
Wow.
I don't know why, but they really like me. But I've got people from all over the world. When I get messages from Japan, from Thailand, from all of Europe, I feel really great. And when people say, "Well, you've got your daughter and son-in-law, you've got it made," yeah, but you can get a coach or you can get a buddy that
Right.
all you need is one other person that's in the same mind frame as you, egging you on. You egg each other on, and you
Exactly.
get results
Right.
because you don't want to be outdone by that other person.
Yeah.
And actually, it's only you yourself that you have to beat.
Oh my gosh, I actually needed to hear that. I needed to hear that, especially with regard to fitness. Look, I am the person, I mean, textbook person, who's been paying for a wasted gym membership probably for 20 years, and I've been in there 5 times.
Oh my gosh.
And I have all kinds of reasons why I can't get to the gym. Now, I always brag, I have 5-minute dance parties every day in my house. And I travel extensively, so I'm active in that way. So I make all these reasons why I don't really need to go to the gym. But here's the clincher. Every time that I do go to the gym, I feel like $1,000,000 when I leave.
Yeah. Like I've told people before, like when you might not feel like it when you start out and you may be sore, but using those muscles again, that takes away the soreness.
Yes.
And competing against yourself, keep your records, keep your blog of what you've done with what. Let's be honest with ourselves for one thing. You make up excuses all the time. You got to know what you want out of life. You got to know that you want change and be willing to do that change. Everything that happens, you make that choice. And we all have choices. You can change. You have to change if you want to have a better life. You really do. I accepted that. I'm now living the life I wanted to. My husband passed away a year and a half ago, and he's no longer with me. So
Yes.
it's up to me. It's
Yes.
absolutely up to me to make all the choices, and I better make the right ones to make my life better. You're the only one that you have to beat because you're not anyone else, and no one else is you.
Well, being you is your superpower. That's what I tell everybody. That's your superpower, being yourself. What did it feel like for you when you first started going to the gym and, you're surrounded by, a very diverse crowd of younger people, stronger people, what have you? What was that process like for you?
I went with intention. Like I went thinking, I paid for my fee to be here.
Mhm.
I can be here just as well as they can. And I wasn't competing against them. I was just trying to get better myself.
Right.
And there were days that I would just like, I'd be exhausted when I come home. When I first started, all I had was a PDF, and I had to go into my, my phone or whatever and look up what, on YouTube, who was doing what. Like
Uh-huh.
I had to follow the instructions that I got, but someone else had to show me how to do it because I was in Canada. My daughter was in Mexico. So it was a long distance collaboration with her. So if anyone can afford, like if they got a buddy, use that. But
Right.
if they can afford to have a coach, make sure you research them that they've got all the right papers because people are calling themselves coaches and they're not coaches.
Oh, I know. They love to, oh, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a coach. And
But when they tell you stuff or show you stuff, you can tell that they're not authentic.
do you think that choosing the right coach requires you to look for someone who actually knows how to work with people over a certain age because our needs are
Oh yeah.
different? Yeah,
You can get a coach that will say they'll train you
right.
and then they dumb down everything. they don't make you do what you are capable of doing.
Right.
Even though you think you might not be able to.
Of all the exercises or things that you do at the gym, is there something that you do it even though you're maybe hate it or it's not your favorite
Yeah.
thing? What's
I
that?
do a few things.
Yeah.
Back extensions. And you have to be very deliberate with that. You're engaging your glutes, like keeping your bum stiff as can be, your legs stiff, and you're bending over. So I had acid reflux for years and years.
Oh, yeah.
And I still,
Yeah.
that sometimes bothers me when I have to bend
Right.
over all the time. And sometimes you get a little bit of vertigo. I can't do certain exercises. Using my neck,
Ah.
yeah, I feel nauseous when I do it,
Oh,
certain
yeah.
exercises. But there's other exercises that you can substitute for the same thing.
It's so interesting. I actually love yoga. I don't go to yoga because, see, here comes the excuse. Sitting on my knees. I don't have a knee problem walking at all, but it's putting the pressure on my knees. And recently, someone said to me, then you're going to the wrong place. You can still do it. They'll change it so you're not putting the pressure on your knees. I never even realized that because everywhere I'd go, it would be like a group class, and they'd be like, well, you just sit out if you can't do it. I need to find someone who can work with me and say, no, let's do it this way.
Yes. Oh, definitely, definitely. And even with my app, the first section is when you need assistance with doing the exercises. If you have problems with knees or shoulders or whatever, that's the place to start off. And as you get better at it,
Right.
then you can go to beginners.
Yes.
And from a beginners, you go to intermediate. And when you go to it after intermediate, you go all the way. You get a coach if that, if that's really what you're aiming for,
Right.
or if you're just wanting to be healthy and do what I did to get where I am, then my app covers all that.
So let's talk about the flip side of this that, you started doing this at the age of 70 and, prove to yourself that you are, like I said, a badass and that you can do all of this that you set your mind to. What does it feel like to know that you've got 2 million followers on Instagram? You wrote a book. And wait, let's talk about the most recent thing. You are the face of Lululemon. Like, wow. What does that feel like for you at this point in your life?
I was just blown away that they even asked me, but it's mainly based for the older generation or people that have fallen by the wayside. They just don't know what to do with themselves. The clothing is great. I've learned to like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I go and buy it, and I don't even know that if I can get it any other way. But
Yeah,
I go,
right.
I'm buying it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that at 60, you didn't envision this.
No, I would never have dreamt of doing anything like this.
Yeah.
Never.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back after this message.
Ready to trade ordinary for extraordinary? At Sisterhood Travels, we turn bucket lists into unforgettable adventures with group travel specifically for women 45 and up. Picture yourself exploring vibrant cultures and making lifelong friends along the way. Join our community of fearless women and start your next chapter full of joy, discovery, and sisterhood. Visit sisterhoodtravels.com and say yes to your next adventure.
Let's dive right back in. Here we go. One of the things I really admire about you is that every single time you post on Instagram, you're being your authentic self, which is actually something that I want for this podcast. I want to be my authentic self, and I want my guests to be their authentic selves. I don't need to pretend to be anything other than who I am.
No, I don't pretend to be anyone, but my daughter does the posting. I'm happy with that because she is good with the words. Like she can
Right.
say what I'm trying to get across.
Yes.
And it's all things that I do. Like any pictures she puts up, anything, it's stuff that I had to do in order to get where I am.
If I had someone sitting here with us who's, 65 years old, has never worked out a day in their life, what advice would you give them?
We've had retreats where we've learned that a lot of the women that come are business owners.
Yes.
They do well in their business, but they have very little faith in themselves. And that's a hard thing to get over. And getting them to understand, you've got to learn to love yourself. You've got to learn that what you've done, acknowledge what you've done to get where you are. And then don't think you can't do something. Think, what can I do?
How did you learn to love yourself?
I had reminders. Every time someone give me a compliment, I would make an excuse why, for
Yes.
something. And my son-in-law would say, "Will you stop doing that?
Yes.
Acknowledge. All
Yes.
you have to do is say yes, thank you."
That is very difficult to do.
I think in my own head, I knew that I had done good. We all have an image of what we are like, and it maybe not be true, but most of it is. You just don't realize. You don't acknowledge that you've done all the things you had to do to get where you are. Thank yourself.
And especially as women, because, it's really interesting. A lot of times we're told, don't be so braggy, tone that down a little bit. First of all, we would never say that to a man, right?
No,
Get out there, preach it, talk about how great you are. But with women, we almost feel apologetic.
apologetic for being here. Yeah.
And I really wanted to spell that myth that we have to do that. Now, it's easier said than done, even for me, but I'm trying. I'm taking baby steps. And someone said to me a couple days ago, you have the right to go out there unabashedly and say, this is what I've done. Now, of course, no one does it in a silo, but
No.
if it's your story, it's your story, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you that, part of learning to love yourself is to give yourself credit for what you've done.
Yeah. Acknowledging. Yeah. It's acknowledging that, which we tend to hide a lot. We don't want to think that we're bragging.
What would you tell an 18-year-old girl who has her whole life ahead of her? What advice would you give to her?
I would want them to think, look, can you think ahead? What do you want to look like, or what do you want to be like in 30 years? It's almost impossible for them to imagine
I
that.
know, they can't really envision it, can they?
Don't think of it as an age. Think of it as a project that makes you the best person you can be.
Right.
Show up, be authentic about everything, be diligent. If you don't want to be like that old person over there that's hunched over, sitting in a chair,
Right.
or watching TV all the time,
Yeah.
then you better do something about it now.
Yeah.
Because if you start earlier, it becomes easier.
What do you think are some of the great things about being older?
Well, I can do what I want. To a degree.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I don't have to listen to somebody else telling me, "Oh, you shouldn't do that."
Right.
"Oh, why are you wearing something like that?"
Right. Right.
Who told
Hey,
me
look at
that
what
I
I
could?
did with my blue hair. I did this like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and I was like, you know what? I want
I like
that.
it.
Oh, thank you. Um,
If it makes you feel good,
it does actually. Like I felt like it gave me pizzazz. But you're right. I don't need permission. I get to do whatever I
no.
want, and it's all on my terms. I love that part.
That's right.
So I want our listeners to know that you started this journey because you were sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? You were tired of your health issues. You were tired of basically, I guess, your life in general. And the fact that you did lose weight and you have become very fit is only one of the benefits of it,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
And so I want women to understand you could be the perfect weight, but still need to engage in feeling fit and healthy.
Oh yeah, you have to keep at it.
Right.
It's your body becomes a trophy when you stop doing things. Do
Right.
you know women should try to jump or skip or whatever all the time because you lose that ability.
I never would have even thought of that. I could get myself a jump rope and just start jumping and build that up.
And you might be tripping all the time for a while, but
Yeah.
it'll come back to
Getting
you.
the
It's
I
just that we don't do it. We stop doing it, and then
and
that filters
you're
out of your
right. I
system,
used to be a double
your
Dutch
reflexes.
queen. I would be out in the
Yeah.
streets with my friends, like, and now oh my God, I would probably like fall flat on my face, but I'm gonna buy a jump rope and see if I can do it.
Yeah.
That's a start.
Try.
Yeah.
All you can do is try. I had to learn how to do that again. I'm going, why can't I? Like I couldn't understand. But you do stuff yourself
Yes.
for yourself.
Yes.
Who else is going to do it? No one can change your body but you.
That is
Like you got to think
true.
like that. You can only change your own body. You can't change anyone else's.
That's true.
No.
What's your favorite meal that you eat these days that really makes you feel great?
Well, I have several dishes that I like, but I like the one bowl meal, which has usually 3 to 4 ingredients in it. And I like my pork, I like my chicken, like turkey I don't have too often. I have eggs, I have beef.
Oh my gosh, so you actually prepare your meals and cook for yourself.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, you know why I say wow? Because I'm the queen of DoorDash. In fact, I probably order so much that if I don't place an order, they're going to send a wellness check for me because I despise cooking. I just realized recently, I don't know that it's the cooking I despise as much as the preparation,
Yeah.
like preparing and thinking about it. And then I get sidetracked because I also run my own business and I get to that point in the day where I'm like, well, I haven't eaten all day and I know I should have. Let me just order something. Let me ask you this. What else does Joan do for fun and self-care? What else do you do besides fitness?
Well, here I can go to the beach, I can go shopping wherever I want. I only get around on my bicycle though in Mexico. It's I don't want to go out with a vehicle.
Me neither. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I get on my bicycle and I go all over as far as I can go. One of my first big birthdays, I think it was my 75th, I went zip lining.
I love
Yes.
zip lining.
I did the zip lining, and then the next year we went to an adventure park. It was something else because there's all kinds of things that we had to do.
Yeah.
Even up in this, like I was only up, I think the second or third level
Yes.
on the ropes.
Like a ropes course. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had dune buggy rides through this made up park, which had hills and everything. I've never done any of this stuff before, so it's a first for me. So
I'm so thrilled. Okay, one last question I'd like to ask you is if you could go back in time and think about what you thought your life would be, and now looking at it today, what is the biggest difference?
back when I got married, my husband and I said when we retired we were gonna travel and
Ah,
do all those things.
yeah,
But he went one way and I went the other in our thinking. He changed to not wanting to go anywhere.
right.
And I think that's when I started really losing hope for myself. And that's when I really gained the weight. So I didn't want to keep leaving him behind.
Right.
And so I just stayed home as well. I was becoming a hermit.
Yes.
And it's not a nice feeling.
No. No.
No, I didn't think I liked people that much that when they were taken away from me, in a sense, I really miss them. I love people. I love talking to them. I love listening to stories. And older people are very interesting, just like little kids. You
Yes.
never know what little kids are going to say.
Yeah.
So those two extremes have always been, I think, my favorite.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
Because they've lived a life, even it might not have been the best life, but
Right.
a lot of them that I listened to had really great stories to tell of their life. And I think I wanted to be like that. And that's, I guess, maybe what I became. I don't know.
I was just going to say, I think you're there. I really do. I mean, the one thing that's clear, you give so much of yourself to people around the world. I mean, even you taking the time today to come on here and inspire women and me personally. I really think that your story is proof of many things, but certainly that you're never too old, it's never too late, you're never too stuck.
And you can. You can, you can, you can. Like the little train going up the hill.
Exactly. The little train. I can,
Yeah.
I think I can, I think I can, I think I
I think I
can.
can. I did.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to keep some of that playfulness and childhood memories
I
alive.
know.
I think that so many people, as we get older, they forget that they were young at one time.
I
And
know.
that's sad. That really is sad because your youth should have been memorable,
Yes.
really.
And if I couldn't laugh all the time, I mean, I guess at that point,
You wouldn't
why
want to be
bother?
you.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I want to laugh and smile and
Yeah.
I don't like feeling ick and down and, sad. And I know we all have to go through those things. But my gosh. So here's something I say to our women that travel with us all the time. I say, what is the difference between an adventure and an obstacle? Attitude. That's my mantra. So you can choose to do whatever you want with what's happening. How it turns out and how you
Is
cope.
how you chose to think it.
Exactly. So there are too many things in this world I can't control. So I'm only going to worry about the ones that I can, actually.
Yep.
And I get the feeling that we are kindred spirits in a lot of ways. So you also have your book, which is called Flex Your Age, Defy Stereotypes and Reclaim Empowerment. Any last words of wisdom?
Okay, if you really get hung up or want to get even better, you can follow my daughter. She has a great following and she's also putting out books.
Well, what I love learning from you is it's about internal strength, resolve, resilience, commitment, all those great things. And it sounds like Michelle has played such an integral role
Mm-hmm. She
in
has.
getting you along your journey. And I think that is amazing when mothers and daughters can be shining examples for each other. Joan, I really, really cannot tell you how much I appreciate you sharing all this wisdom with us. And like I said, I love your laugh. I love your vibe. I love everything about you. Don't be surprised if you see me on Train with Joan.
Okay.
Very soon.
Okay, Stacey.
If you liked this show, please be sure to like us, follow us, subscribe to us, give us a review, because it really helps grow our podcast.